So I'm wondering now, you all have kind of talked about this giving you a different perspective. And I'm wondering if you can kind of go into that a little bit more. Like, what kinds of professional skills or perspectives did you get during your year of service, that have kind of contributed to, your understanding now of the field? Um, Kara?
Sure. I think empathy is the biggest word that comes to mind. I know it's something we talked about at our orientation and still a topic of conversation among myself and people who have done a year of service. You just meet so many people from different walks of life, people that you didn't have a chance to be exposed to maybe before that, and kind of listen to their stories and what they're willing to share with you. And I think a lot of my perspective changed in terms of like, oh, they're not being compliant with their medications or things like that, to, they're really not set up for success. And how could we make it so that fix different things in the process so that it was, that they could be able to be successful in managing their health. And I think that led me to the year I did start working at a hospital right after Savannah. There was a presenter who talked about the patient and family education committee at the hospital. And I quickly got involved in that because her presentation focused on like stepping into somebody else's shoes and kind of seeing from their perspective and kind of listening more than talking, and just kind of letting yourself be open to avoiding your preconceived notions and just trying to help in the best way, least judgmental way possible. And so I think, all of that. And then I was very lucky to have a supportive community while I was there, people who I'm still very friendly with today, and who are also all in healthcare, ironically. And so, especially during this past year, that's been a topic that's kind of come up, between the four of us. And I'm just so grateful that I have, you realize that there's not as many like-minded people out there in the world as you sometimes think. And so having a group of people who share similar values and still want to take the time to kind of put themselves in other people's shoes was probably one of the greatest gifts that my year with MVC gave me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Kara. I think relationships is such a huge part of a year of service and being able to take those with you. Fabiola, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with what Kara said so much. Empathy, patience, understanding. I think learning to work with people who are going through very, very difficult times is one of the things that I most took away, because I guess I didn't expect that maybe people would come to the clinic happy that they were getting this service. Sometimes they would come sad. Sometimes they would be very angry. And you had to be patient and understanding and empathetic and understand that they're not angry at you. It's just more of like their situation. And you just have to see what you can do to help the best ways you can. And so just having that mentality, especially because I do want to become a doctor, right? So having that experience and just, like I said, I worked at different parts of the clinic. So being able to see them come into the clinic with their financial struggles, or just hearing their stories about how they haven't received healthcare in so long and they didn't know our clinic existed. And then being able to hear their medical issues as with the nurses when I was working with them was very insightful, I guess, to just understand what people are going through that I might have not been aware. And I really want to and hope I took that with me moving forward in the healthcare field.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. The stories of the people we encounter are the ones that really stick and, impact who you are too. Brandy?
To echo Kara and Bobby, I would say probably kindness and patience as well. Definitely patience. I had never worked with anybody who has dementia before. And so it can be really hard because, some days they're fine and other days they're angry. and they want to get out of there, and trying to maybe redirect them. That was a new skill that I had to learn how to handle, I guess, difficult situations that I really hadn't had to before. And knowing that kindness, sometimes I remember thinking, I can't remember if someone told me this but sometimes these people, like, all they feel, I guess maybe, is people helping them get dressed or a gloved hand. I was talking with someone at work about that. And the power of touch is very important. So I would just try to always be very kind with them, which I think is something that you can always bring with you wherever. Listening is really important. And then I think in terms of professional skills, it really helped me with my public speaking, because I used to be somebody who was so nervous. Like in school, I would be that person that memorized the flashcards. And I know it sounds terrible when you're in front of the class, reading your memorized lines. And then here I am, and I had to lead activities to a group of people. And I think it really gave me a lot of confidence, because they don't care, as long as they can hear you, So I wasn't nervous anymore. And when I got to grad school, it was very easy for me to present to my classmates. So I do think you also will gain some skills, whether it's working in an office setting or working with people who are different from you. So there's definitely things you'll learn from the professional side too.
Yeah, definitely. Look at you now, Brandy. You're live streaming on YouTube.
I know.
How fun. So I think a lot of you kind of already talked about this, but I'm wondering, really, how did your experience with MVC lead to where you are today? Like, what part in your journey did a year of service contribute that might not have happened if you hadn't served? Fabiola?
Yeah, I want to kind of go back to what Brandy was saying about like just skills in speaking with people and feeling more comfortable talking to patients, because I am in medical school. I do have to talk to patients and be patient, be understanding. And I think my experience at St. Mary's really, really helped, because I am also a very nervous person, especially with I used to be with the phone, and I had a lot of time with the phone. So now it's way easier, especially now that everything's through the phone. It really helped. But yeah, I think just the whole experience. I wasn't sure that medicine or the health field was for me. And it just brought me back to why I wanted to do this in the first place. Getting that relationship with the people that we were serving, and being able to do anything at all to help throughout what was very difficult situations. Really kind of keeps me going, especially during my, like, right after I left St. Mary's. I was struggling with studying, and I kept going back to that. Remember how it felt to be able to be at that clinic and do something. And if you want to continue doing that, then just you have to keep studying. So it has been kind of a motor that I keep going back to.
Yeah, that's really neat. And good for you too that you're on here live streaming. Like, good progress here. Brandy, how about you?
I think it was kind of the culmination, I guess, of all the experiences that I had at college with the Center for Social Concerns. And this year, I think hearing my roommates' stories and what other people were doing when we had retreats, I guess it kind of led me. So I got my master's in public health, and we talk a lot about the social determinants of health and how only a very small percentage of your health outcomes are actually due to genetics. And a lot of it is mostly due to the conditions that you live in. And I think that this year really showed me that and gave me that foundation. And so when we talked about those things in class, it was easy for me to see that, I guess.
Yeah, like you had an example of it, a real life knowing what's going on. Yeah, that's neat. Kara?
I think the biggest influence on my professional life has been I'm currently halfway through a nurse practitioner program. Slow going, but kind of making a dent in that. And I think the decision to go back to school was a challenging one, but I think especially thinking back to the role that nurse practitioners can play in the primary care setting was what was most inspiring to me. I'm currently working in the ICU, and so I think it was a little bit of a stretch. Most people maybe do an acute care nurse practitioner program, but I ended up applying for primary care, remembering my time in Savannah so fondly. And I think certainly both are great professions, but I think I would see my role as more trying to prevent people from going into the hospital versus like taking care of them when they're so acutely ill. Because I think having an understanding person that's really able to crack down and get to the bottom of things that are going on before they kind of escalate is something that hopefully I will be able to implement in my practice.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, Kara. I appreciate that perspective. Other aspects or pieces of your year as a volunteer that you continue to carry with you, not just in your professional work, but maybe in your personal life or spiritual being? What kind of things are you still carrying with you? Brandy?
Sure. So I'll say that being with MVC was definitely, it was the happiest year of my life. I still go back to that and think about it every day. I'm still very close with my roommates that I lived with there. We still talk and write letters all the time. And I still talk to, our coordinator, I don't know, who went between, the MVC staff and us. I still talk to my coworkers at Stella. So I guess the relationships. And then I think it really gave me love for working with the elderly. When I was in grad school, I volunteered at a nursing home and worked with the elderly there. And then I still think about in our dining room, there were 2 posters with the spiritual and corporal works of mercy. And so that's definitely something that, I'm like, what, I should do some more of those. So I think it's present in my mind. So.
Yeah, I'm hearing it's kind of woven in to just who you are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kara?
Yeah, also, I think I've already talked about our community and how we kind of keep in touch. And I'm lucky to live in an area of the country here where there's a lot of MVC alumni. And granted, things have kind of taken a little bit of a turn this past year with being able to get together, different alumni days of service and gatherings have been a really cool thing to be a part of. And I ended up doing this 2-year, it's called Contemplative Leaders in Action. It's a Jesuit leadership and leadership formation and spirituality program that's offered through many cities throughout the US. But I ended up getting matched with the spiritual director through that, who was a Sister of Mercy and whose niece actually ended up having done a year of service in Savannah. It was like a crazy kind of connection. And I was like, they said at orientation, like the circle of mercy is timeless, but like, this is what they mean. Like, it's like a crazy kind of connection. And it's just fun. It's exciting how it like will pop up and then, you'll get an email. Oh, do you want to be a part of this alumni day of service? And I always enjoy talking about that year.
Yeah, the circle of mercy it never ceases to amaze me, like when someone pops up into your life and is connected to. It's a really cool network and circle to be in. Fabiola, how about you?
Yeah, I'd have to say the community, the people I lived with and the people I worked with. I still keep in touch with them, love them very, very much. And they made the whole experience what it was. Besides the people that we served, there were those people that were doing it with us. And I think that was one of the most beautiful parts about it, was creating those friendships, those relationships. So that would be it.
Yes, I love it. That's wonderful. For those who are tuning in and watching, many of them discerning a year of service, what advice do you have for them as they're considering service and applying or figuring out what service site they should serve in? Kara?
I think obviously I'm biased, but I would say go for it. What do you have, what do you have to lose? But I also remember going through the process my senior year, and we had a Sister of Mercy on campus who was kind of my touch person for the application process. And I was going through a pro-con list, and it shouldn't have been that hard, right? Because I knew since freshman year that I had wanted to do this, but suddenly I got these cold feet, like, do I really want to do this? Like, and then if I do, like, where do I want to go? And she let me talk and ramble for like 20 minutes and said, well, have you prayed about it? And I was like, no, like, I think that was the piece that was missing. And I think being that this is a program where spirituality is one of the tenets, it's helpful to take some time. I know you don't have a ton of time because it's kind of getting to the application deadline, but and I know the whole rest of my community would kind of echo what I said. I think of my community, I always think back, we came from all different areas of the country, all different backgrounds, all different schools, serving in kind of different locations. I had probably been one of the first applicants, and one of our community members was the last. And we all gelled together, and it worked well. It didn't necessarily matter. Our motivations and routes to get there may have all been different, but it's an invaluable time. I think sometimes I think back, I think now I could be so much more valuable as a nurse. I have so much more experience. Why did I do this right out of school? But at the same time, I think it was such a formational year, and I'm so glad that was at the beginning of my career, because those skills that we've kind of talked about, like empathy, talking to people, appreciating other people's perspectives, those are all transferable skills that will do you well in any kind of career path you choose after the year of service.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kara. Fabiola?
Yeah, Kara said it so beautifully. But yeah, definitely you have nothing to lose, everything to gain, so much opportunity for growth. And I would just say go for it, but at the same time, just see where it fits into your life now and in your future. Talk to your friends, someone who had done it before, who can kind of guide you through it. But definitely, I would just say go for it. It's a good experience.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Fabiola. Brandy?
Same. Do it. You will not regret it. And I think also for me, I would definitely recommend being flexible, because I applied a little bit later. It was probably in February when I applied. And so by that time, the medical service sites were filled, which is what I was really hoping to get. But Marie talked to me and she said, well, what about Stella Maris? And it was in Baltimore. And, I wasn't really thinking about being an activities coordinator or working in a nursing home. And it was really great. I actually really loved it. So I would say be open to other sites if the one that you wanted is filled or might not be as good of a fit as you think it would be. So.
Yeah, thanks, Brandy. And just to elaborate on that too, it is a mutual discernment process. So if you're still not really sure if a year of service is right for you, that's okay. You can apply and we will walk with you through the process and help you discern if a year of service is right and what service site is the best fit for you. We do still have placements available in the medical field in Savannah, Baltimore, and Detroit, some of those being registered nurses positions. And then placements in St. Michael's that I mentioned earlier. And then we have some of these more advocacy type of roles in promoting justice in different areas, and then the activities coordinator as well. So we are accepting applications for service starting in August until June 21st. That will be our final deadline for this year. And you can submit your application completely through our website at mercyvolunteers.org/apply. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us contact us at mercyvolunteers.org, or just check us out on our website, and we can help you from there too. I want to thank the panel so much for being here and sharing your stories and perspectives. It's always so energizing to get to hear from the alumni about their experiences. Everyone take care and have a great night.